If you have a virtual business, like a podcast, for example, or if you run an Airbnb or you have an OnlyFans account and you need some help with your finances and don't know where to start, go to m3virtualaccounting.com and set up a free consult with Molly Morris. She is so helpful and so knowledgeable and also very, very flexible. She has been a huge help to me, and I just wish I had hired her sooner. m3virtualaccounting.com for a free consult. Tell her I sent you.
This is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Some Spoiled, a Song of Ice and Fire to the co-host Switcheroo the Rereading, covering House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 3, The Burning Mill. Really unexciting title, actually. In this episode, people are beginning to make their allegiances to the different factions known, fight over it, and also we have an actual conversation between Allison and Rhaenyra. Unexpected. Very surprising development. Welcome to Unspoiled. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
I'm Rashawn.
Okay, so a lot of divisive opinions about this episode that I've seen online so far.
Really?
What do you think of this one?
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to indulge in the social media reaction because I didn't watch until today, so I didn't want to spoil myself. And then my day kind of, had a bunch of other shit going on. So I don't know what everyone was thinking. And I can't wait to hear. I thought that there were some moments that I liked the episode overall. I think that I loved things that I loved. I loved that they had a conversation, because that just never happens.
Yes,
you never get. You're always just like, if only they could talk. Well, they talked, and it's just too late, and it's not going to change anything, which is like the most frustrating feeling ever.
Yeah,
very, so that was great. There was a lot of quiet moments in this episode that I actually really enjoyed. I enjoyed Rhaenys. I loved the opening with the Brackens and the Blackwoods. I have a question too about if one of these kids is the same little kid we see in season 1, when they're courting Rhaenyra, and the little one ends up killing the much bigger one.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Just because it doesn't matter if it's the same kid or not, but it'd be cool if it were for like story reasons.
I think if they were trying to court her, they would be much older by now, wouldn't they? Because that happened when she was like 10 years younger.
There was a little boy. Rhaenyra calls him a child. She's like, and now they're sending children to ask my. He's like a tiny little thing, even though Rhaenyra is still quite young.
I was about to say, isn't she also like still pretty young at that point? Like he's only like 5 years younger than her.
He's like because she's like what, 16 or 17 when she's on her courting tour. So this kid's like 11 or 12. And he's the scrawniest little thing ever. And he shows up to ask for her hand, and she doesn't take it seriously. And then I can't remember, it's season 1, but whoever is courting her, asking for her hand, gets mocked by the other side. So if it's a Blackwood kid, then it's a Bracken making jokey jokes. And it ends up being funny because the little kid draws this sword, and you're just like, oh, he's about to get mollywopped. And you don't really see the whole fight because Rhaenyra is like, I'm done with this as soon as they start fighting, and she gets up and storms out. But the camera cuts back, and the little kid had won. Like the tiny kid fucking put it on him.
But yeah, I think that even if he was younger than her, if it's only 5 years younger, I don't think any of these boys, they all look like they are in
teenagers.
15. Yeah, you know, like I may be wrong about that because also I'm old and now everybody seems like children. But
that's my problem is I can't honestly tell like what age anybody is really supposed to be. So it's probably not the same kid, but I enjoyed the way they did this with the meeting, and such a petty grievance turns into this just battlefield of losses, you know. When we cut back to wherever they are, I guess they're the ones at Burning Mill. This is where they are.
Yes,
and you just see this field of dead bodies, and you're just like, what? Wow! Like these two families. I know I had already known the backstory. I had been told that from season 1, but and then you get it in the episode as well. But my God, did that go from 0 to 100?
Yeah, I there was some folks out there who were feeling like upset that we didn't get to see the battle, and I don't really see the need for that. Like we know what happened here. It's fine. Like there's not a need to waste money on something like that. That's really in the end like doesn't have a lot to do with anything.
Yeah, I didn't feel cheated. You know? I didn't feel cheated at all. I actually thought it worked a little bit better because we don't get like there's a line later on when Rhaenyra is talking to Alicent in the Sept. She's talking about men and glory and, you know, fame and all that shit, bloodlust, and how it all ends in death, and that's kind of what's wrong with men in low-key, right? And I like that they didn't give us the glory of a great battle. You know, we don't get any of the adrenaline or the excitement. All we get is a field of dead people. And I think that works really well for the tone of the episode.
I thought you were going to mention a different moment actually, but the moment that it made me think of is when Rhaenys and Rhaenyra are talking, and you know, Rhaenyra's like, well, they took my throne. That's what started the war. And Rhaenys is like, is it? Because some people are going to say it's when this child was beheaded. And some people are going to say it's when your son was eaten by a dragon. And then there are going to be people who say it was when he took another child's eye. And that's just like the Brackens and Blackwoods and how far back it goes to a point where it's like, the reason why doesn't matter anymore. Like it's so irrelevant. They just need somebody to hate, and there they are. You know,
that's what the Lord Strong or Castellian Strong or whatever he says when Damon asks about the Brackens and the Blackwoods, and he's just like, you know, it's too long to say. Who even remembers a sin begets a sin begets a sin. And yeah, that's like what's going to happen with the Dance of Dragons is like, as you go down through 100 years of history and people are like, well, what started the war? And you have, from what I understand, all of these different accounts in the book Fire and Blood. Yeah. I really like this episode. I'm surprised to hear that it was a mixed review.
I was too, because I really liked it. And I've seen a lot of people complain about it being slow, and you know, I'm big into character shit, and this is so much character stuff, and that's my jam.
I knew that was going to be the complaint. I really
honestly like, and I haven't even been on the Discord today to like see what people have talked about, so I don't know if our listeners are feeling that way, but it's just something that I have seen talked about in other spaces. But the books are so talky in a lot of spots that it always surprises me when people complain about the show being slow, because I'm like, the books are way slower than this, guys. How can you even like the books and then have a problem with this? But yeah, I personally like the conversational stuff can be some of the best parts of the show. Like one of the best episodes of the final season was, you know, when people have gotten together after a long time apart and finally get to see one another and talk through some of the stuff that happened between them or that happened after they split up.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the fucking battle against the walkers and shit, and that's not as good as the conversations between like Brienne and Jamie, So, yeah, not a complaint that you're going to hear from me very often. But okay, so let's start from the beginning here. I want to mention the opening credits to have the
they have
slash across Jaehaerys' throat. Yeah.
That was just like, oof, we're just doing that? Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Wow. Because, they could have done it last week and they just didn't. So, but I guess it takes time to stitch that shit together, right? So,
yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty cool to have that included. And now I'm going to be like eagle eyeing every week to see what else is going on.
Same. Because I was just kind of like, well, it's the same one every week, and I think I was like about to skip it.
I wasn't even going to pay attention. And you know what? They did it last year too, where they updated the opening credits as the season went on. But
that's true. I'd forgotten they.
But I had also forgotten because I definitely was not like checking the credits for anything. Like, it didn't jump out like last week. I didn't see anything, and I was just like, oh, well, why would you? They're just, the credits.
So we start off with Eric and Eric getting buried. And it's sort of a weird moment between Rhaenyra and her son, because he is very much of the opinion that they shouldn't be even burying them together, because he, Eric was, faithless because he stayed with the High Towers, and she is willing to give him some grace on this, that he was like keeping his oath as far as he saw it. But her son is really very angry and wanting to lay blame here in a much more decisive way than she wants to. He says, "What of those who sent him?" with a sort of like vibe to him of like, what are you going to fucking do about it though? And when she doesn't look at him or respond at all, he seems quite irritated.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that. What are you going to do about it energy from men this entire episode? And you have these women, which opens the door for another conversation, which we probably will get to. But the beginning is really framed as though the women are temperate, and can remain rational and reasonable and level-headed, while men just fly off the handle, So yeah, that we have that happening here, even with her son, who, quite frankly, I always take to be, a little bit more level-headed than this.
Yeah.
But I guess when people send people to kill your mom, you're entitled to get a little froggy.
Yeah, they get inside the house and inside the room and very nearly manage to do it.
Yeah.
So this is when Rhaenys approaches Rhaenyra and is like, there may be a way around war, Alicent Hightower. And at first, Rhaenyra is just like, she's the one who stabbed me in the fucking back. And then tries to do the whole like, and then, the attempt on my life, she allowed that. And Rhaenyra's like, the way that you allowed her son to be stabbed to death in his bed like that, because you had nothing to do with that, but that still happened. And so this births this idea of going to actually speak to her, because there's only really one way to approach this, and it is to come upon Alicent somewhere that she is alone, because if you try to act like you want to treat with her, she is going to see it as a trick and will not agree to meet. And Rhaenyra admits, like, I would definitely think that if I was on the receiving end of a message like that. So I have to just find a way to actually go to her. And I kind of just want to talk about that right out of the gate. Can we just talk about the two of them meeting and go a little bit out of order? Because that's like, for me, one of the main events of this episode. And so I'm of two minds on this, because on the one hand, I love when characters communicate. I love that we're finally getting this like cleared up, that there was a misunderstanding. My problem here is that I don't get why we needed the misunderstanding then. Like, the thing is, if it's going to be cleared up, but it's too late to change any of what's actually happening, like, why did we need it to go like this? Why did it have to, and the way that it's being presented. And look, guys, I know that I've been like beating this drum on why can't women just get to be awful in media, but I'm really asking, because the way that this scene goes is that Rhaenyra is asking Alicent, like, I know that you're lying about my father changing his mind. And I love the fact that Alicent is like, do you really think that I would lie on that level? Are you serious? And when Rhaenyra like looks at her, she really can see Alicent is dead serious and very sincere. And she gets very emotional, thinking that like at the last second, did my father just completely lose faith in me and decide not, And then when Alicent says something about the prince that was promised, all of a sudden Rhaenyra realizes what's really happening and is like, oh, if he used those words, that's a story about Aegon the Conqueror. And you can see Alicent realizing the gravity of the level of the mistake that she made. But there's nothing to be done at this point. Things have all gone too far, and you can't just be like, I thought he said that he wanted his son to inherit, but I was wrong. I misunderstood, and now it's Rhaenyra that's queen. Haha, lol, my bad.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So she says, rightfully, like, men are out here marching. You know what my son is. It's too late. And she's dead right about that, in my opinion.
Is. I don't know. My question was, what did Rhaenyra think that Alicent could actually do other than try to counsel her son to then abdicate?
Yeah.
And even if she were able to pull that off, there's so many other people, so many other families and men who have signed up for Aegon to be king that, are making moves behind the scenes. And as we see in the council meeting at the beginning of the episode, Alicent is already beginning to lose power.
Yeah.
Her sway over Cole is diminishing, at least as far as how he, treats her in public. Now he defers to his king and not to his queen anymore. Because, I don't know what Rhaenyra was hoping could actually be done. I understand that this was really like just a last ditch effort. But practically speaking, realistically speaking, I don't know what could have been changed,
Yeah. I don't like, so what it comes down to is men are after battle and glory. We're not like that. And if we could keep this from happening, we would. And it's very much giving like, all the women are just at the mercy of the men around them. And y'all, I am just so bummed out by this. The two of them, it feels like, have so little agency in the midst of everything. Rhaenyra is the queen in her respect, and it just feels so out of control. The council doesn't listen to her later. They're all just talking over her. One of them literally laughs in her face at a suggestion she makes. And Alicent, there's a lot of people trying to act as if Alicent is just acting like she doesn't, putting her fingers in her ears. I didn't hear that, when she realizes what's really happening. But I don't think that's it at all. I think she understands, I fucked up. but it's too late. Everything's in motion. Like, what is she supposed to do? So I think people are being really unfair with her about personally, like, do I think it makes sense that she would just, after hearing her husband for decades, like, support his daughter's claim, that he would, like, suddenly change his mind on his deathbed? No, I don't. But also, in that moment, I can see how you just feel like it seemed very clear what he was saying. If they fucking didn't name everybody Aegon, maybe this shit wouldn't happen, guys.
We could have avoided all of this.
Yeah. So, like, you know, maybe you could fault Alicent for that, but I also can understand feeling like I'm trying to uphold his wishes from his, like, last moments, and that feeling very sacred to her, even if she is being kind of dense about it.
Right.
But I just really don't like, as you said, that we're framing it as like all of the women are level-headed and compassionate and rational, and all the men are just like bloodthirsty hotheads. And but why? Why did it have to be like this? Why can't it just have been Alicent wanted her son to inherit the throne? Especially if we're just going to, like, sort of undo this misunderstanding here, so that now we know that's what it is. It feels like it just undercuts some things about their characters in a way that is puzzling and ultimately not satisfying to me. So I don't have a problem with the scene itself. I have the same problem that I've been having, and this scene really felt like the show was digging in on the thing that I already had an issue with, which is men are going to do what they do and women have no say, when the whole point of that story is how intense these two women were about what they wanted and how far they were willing to go for that, and how like hateful and bloodthirsty they both were. And that's just gone, you know?
I think, because I haven't read the books, my experience, it feels like because some really horrible shit is about to jump off, right? Like at the end of this episode, it's very clear that Rhaenyra has, you know, tried her best and she hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
So now anything that happens is like her hand was forced, you know? So it's like we're softening up the women preemptively because they're about to both engage in some really ugly shit, and we need the audience to still like them. So we're going to, like, always be able to say, well, yeah, she burned those kids alive, but she didn't want to do this. She tried to avoid it, you know, like that kind of sort of thing. Also, another thing, and I don't know if the show is doing it intentionally or if they're doing it, they don't even realize they're doing it. But it's very interesting to me how even crowning a woman, and it's true in like real life as well, just because she's queen doesn't necessarily change hundreds of years of people's idea of what is a woman's place. So yeah, she's Queen Rhaenyra, like, you know, but these men are still talking over her and talking around her and scheming behind her back. And you have Daemon just doing whatever he fucking wants to do and not like having any respect. Now, Alicent's a little bit different because she's like, but before Aegon was crowned though, and she was, you know, working with Otto, and we saw that they also were scheming behind her back and had this plan ready to install her son that she didn't know anything about. And it's such a good reminder that even with the power of the crown behind you as a woman, these men are still not going to respect you the same way. And they're going to undermine you. And you're going to have to be fighting both your adversaries and your so-called allies because they're second guessing you and taking your compassion, and mistaking it for weakness, taking her cautiousness about releasing dragons into the world to fight and treating that as a woman's weakness. I think, and again, I don't know if the show is doing that on purpose or not, but to me,
I think that's their whole thesis for this show at this point.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of, if that's what I think they're using as a sort of like, and I'm going to call it an excuse for like taking a lot of power out of these characters, is they're trying to be like, well, this is the way that but I feel like you could show that and still have them making some really questionable choices on like, and some vicious choices. And I still think you could do both, but it feels like they really feel they have to choose one or the other.
Right. I think that like, I don't know what's coming. I know I've heard from just like the general, what people have been saying, that like there's like the meme that keeps going around in different formats about like, I'm about to forgive Rhaenyra for all the war crimes she's about to commit and all that kind of stuff. So I really do feel like there was a softening up, because maybe they just don't trust that audiences would be interested in a woman who is, has the capacity for great cruelty. Maybe they just, I don't know.
I fully think that's what it is, that they don't trust the audience. And the thing that it just keeps being remarkable to me is like all of the hateful shit that Damon has done. And how everybody just thinks still that he is like the hottest, sexiest, still defend him no matter what he's done. And like, I have to assume that if it were Rhaenyra, that would not be forgiven. It would not be at all the same energy.
That's the one thing that really sucks, because they didn't give us an opportunity to see. Like, it's very possible that we still would have been like, you know what, they had it coming.
It's possible.
I'm riding with my queen because she's my queen, and you know what, I'm ready to endorse all the bullshit she's about to be on because she was robbed. Or if you are somehow Team Green, whatever you tell yourself to sleep at night. But but I do think that the rest of the season is going to have them be like much more vicious than they've been up to this point. And it really is telling that before these women could begin to abuse their power, they have to really exhaust every opportunity to do other before they get to that point. They have to really be pushed. And again, because I haven't read the books, it's hard, it's hard for me to like gauge how different it is. But that's my take on that, at least. It's just that, you need your women to show that they tried to do anything other than the worst thing before they're actually going to be complicit in the very worst things. Right now, each of them both have like plausible deniability in the horrors that have happened. Alicent misheard, misunderstood. She didn't send Aemon after Luke. That just happened. And then even Aemon has a little bit of plausible deniability. And then, Daemon goes off and says a son for a son, but we don't explicitly see him saying, fucking take that baby's head. I don't give a fuck whose head you bring back. Bring me a head back. They're doing that, for a lot of different characters. Even like with Otto, who everybody hates. He's, but we have him with that last look in line about like, oh, is that what you think happened? So we begin to wonder, does Otto, like there were people in the group saying that they never believed that Viserys changed his mind and really just thought that Alicent had finally just grew a set and was willing to perpetrate this fraud in order to get her son on the throne.
I think that's the true, like, there's a look that Otto gives her. I remember when she tells him, like, he changed his mind, that I think Ryan Reisman said something like, he looks at her like, oh, look at you finally willing to tell a lie that fucking big. And I do recall that moment. And it 100% seems like that's what he was thinking, is just like, well, okay. If this is the story you want to go with, daughter who's finally growing up, you know?
That, but also his, you know, they have Otto talking about how much he respected Viserys and what a good king he was, and how Aegon is just like not even worth being the son of him. And, so his motivation is like to save the realm from eating itself. And so, you know what I mean? Like, all of them have, like, nobody is just purely power hungry except Daemon and Larys.
Yes. Yep. What a weird, Yeah, so anyway, I liked the scene of the two of them chatting. I like Alicent knowing now how bad she fucked up, but I just really don't understand why we had to do this to begin with, other than because maybe we're a little bit of cowards about how we portray women, and that's a bummer. So, all right, I just wanted to deal with that out of the gate. Let's talk about Kristen Cole. I just think every episode that I can't dislike him more, and then he does another thing. And I'm just like, wow. So evidently, like, he's still wearing armor in this scene. So is he still the
listen?
Lord Commander?
You don't see the he's still Lord Commander, and they got him wearing like this Cuban links hand situation.
I didn't see that.
You didn't You didn't.
No.
All right. So,
oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tyrion strangles Shay with that, I think.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I the hands necklace.
Oh, I thought he strangled her with something else. But okay, wow. But yeah, so he's wearing that. People are addressing him first as Lord Commander and then as Lord Hand. So, and he's still wearing his armor, like you said, and he also has taken offense at the fact that Aegon has installed new Kingsguard, clearly without Cole's input. Which
it's so funny. It's like, yeah, he hired you without input too, bud. If he's gonna like he does not care what anybody thinks. He really thought you were the exception, sweetie. Okay, sure.
And then this is his first meeting. He's all late, but this council meeting,
he is such a dick to Alicent.
See,
it's so gross.
Yeah. It's funny too because like clearly so many of the council members are just like, this dude gets a seat and a ball now. Like he was the worst when he was just standing behind Alicent all the fucking time. You know, he was already insufferable, and now he gets to sit down. Oh, they seem, and I don't blame them.
Yeah,
and one of them, I think it's Jasper, Lord Jasper, is like, you know, that plan with Eric. Yeah, how'd that work out?
Oh my god!
And Alicent co-signs that too, and Nicole is just like, well, Eric failed. You know, I don't see how that's a reflection on me. My plan was sound.
And you know what? Like, as much as I want to be mad at him, it did almost work. So I don't know. Maybe, like, it's just that I hate you.
Yeah.
It's just that I hate you. Like,
that shit was about to work. The only reason that shit didn't work is because they got super fucking lucky with Mysaria. Like,
yeah.
Like he really was about to just put an end to all this shit. And I would never sleep another night if I knew the Christian Cole had that kind of success. That's it for me. I would never sleep again. Also, Eamon is at the council meeting.
Yeah, he's just part of this now.
Now he's
I
part
guess.
of, yeah, like Aegon said that he wanted his brother like to be a part of this, and here he is. And they're going to, my God, Kristen Cole is going to go out to the Riverlands, and he's going to take Harrenhal and get either the Blackwoods or the Brackens, whichever one's declared for Aegon, and amass this army, because it's a lot of those motherfuckers. They're like very important. And Aemon is like, yeah, and I'm gonna take Vhagar, and they're like, no, no, you're not actually.
You are.
You're gonna keep your little ass at home and guard the city. And then Aegon is like, yeah, and I'll go. And they're like, no.
Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, it's very much giving like all of the adults in the room looking at each other like, we just did this. Can we not do this again?
My God.
Over and over, the same fucking song and dance, trying to convince idiot boys to not do idiot boy shit.
When Alicent like yells for some discipline in the meeting because the meeting just starts falling apart, I felt that so fucking hard. Like, not for nothing, but where is Otto? We need Otto back.
Look, Otto might have been a shit, but at least he was a shit that seemed like he actually, like, he had a big picture sort of brain. He thought that way. And everybody here, it just feels like they are all small people with just very small picture minds. Otto, the way that he used his daughter and the way that he assumed that Rhaenyra would like kill all of her children, only because you would have done that because you're a maniac, sir. Like, you suspect a thing because it's what you would have done. But setting all of that aside, he's got a good political brain, and evidently that was needed a lot more than we realized.
Yeah, because this whole council meeting is a mess. It is a mess. And Cole is like, you can't tell him nothing.
Yeah.
Right? You could barely talk to him before, but he is just I can't believe how he just keeps falling ass backwards into these promotions. Like, it is, considering what he's done in the past, there's just been no consequences for Christian Cole yet.
Yeah.
He went from Rhaenyra's queen guard to getting his fucking feelings all hurt because she didn't want to run away and sell oranges and be poor, to immediately being the queen's guard and confidant for years, to fucking hand of the king, to fucking, yeah, that too. And now he's hand, and he's got another plan. He's going to ride out, and they're like, well, maybe a dragon would be good to have as backup. And Kristen Cole is just like, absolutely not. I don't need it. And that would just invite more dragons. And then we have Aegon, when they tell him that he has to stay home. I'm as fearsome. I'm fearsome too, I got a dragon. I can do some stuff. It's so sad.
Embarrassing, dude. Oh my God.
He's so insecure.
Yeah, and it's like, I actually find it kind of adorable in a way, like, because even though he's insecure, he doesn't lash out with it the way that Joffrey did. Like, there's no scene of him taking it out on somebody after this meeting, that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in a way, I just feel like bad for him because he feels like such a child. But God, he's the king. He's the king.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And like the only things that we've seen about Aegon's depravity is his sort of drinking and sexual exploits and the rape of the various handmaids or servants or whatever.
One of whom's in this episode, the one that Alicent gave the moon tea.
Is she really? I didn't.
Yeah, she's the one who gets her ass slapped at the tavern.
Oh shit! I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, I didn't either. There was somebody else talking about it.
No, I never in a million years would have caught that. That's
the way the camera focused on her. I was sort of like, this. I feel like I'm supposed to think something about her. And
I just figured
that was somebody else
because we're getting so many small folk that we're getting POVs for. I thought maybe we were just going to get like she was going to be introduced to somebody else that we were going to meet. It never even occurred to me that we had already met her. That's good. That's very good. Ooh, that's good. Because
there's another thing that somebody picked up on that I'm going to mention later, but I definitely didn't. So a couple things. Thanks to everybody out there who just like tells me shit that I probably should have noticed. Sorry about it.
But so that's what the end of the meeting ends up being is that Cole is going to go on his own. He is not trying to hear anything Alicent has to say. He's fucking so dismissive and rude to her.
Yeah. Laughs in her face also. Like both of them have this happen.
And it's just like she's sitting there listening and there's a moment where the camera catches her face and it's just like defeat. You know, it's just like a heavy sigh and just kind of like, okay, this is there's been a shift. There's been a power shift and I don't have it anymore. Okay.
I wonder if she's going to keep fucking him after this.
I would hope not.
I really hope not.
Yeah, after the way he treats her in this episode, I hope that's just done. And we go back to Dragonstone and we have Rhaenyra talking to Mysaria about how she saved the queen's life, quite frankly. And what she wants in return. And it turns out what she wants is a place in Rhaenyra's court because she's really impressed with the mercy that Rhaenyra showed to her by letting her go. Yeah. And she believes of the two, Rhaenyra is going to be better ruling and that the small folk will have a better chance to have a better life under her than they would under Aegon in the High Towers. Because Mysaria's got some like personal beef with them. So she needs to see them fall and she means like all of it, like all of you.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really interested in seeing how this goes.
She's got to keep Mysaria and make her sort of like her Varys, right? Like this is going to be Rhaenyra's whisperer, master of whispers, or I don't know if there's like a way to mistress of whispers, because she's the one that gives Rhaenyra the information on how to get to Alicent and to have that conversation because she's just so plugged in, to what was going on in King's Landing. That Rhaenyra wouldn't even be able to have pulled that meeting off without Mysaria. So,
which I do have to call a little bit of bullshit on because Rhaenyra's like, you know the ins and outs of King's Landing, and I'm like, you used to live there too, Rhaenyra. Why don't you know? That was also your home. You only left like kind of recently.
I assume when she said the ins and outs, she didn't literally mean like the landscape of it, but more like what's going on day to day. Who's doing what is their routine? Because she knows that Alicent has a routine of going to the Sept at such and such time of day to pray. Like that's true. That's what I thought she meant when she said the ins and outs. Though
also rich people don't have any like idea what's happening to make their lives happen a lot of the time. So I guess I should just expect that she probably doesn't pay attention to how fishing boats work and shit.
There's a little mention too. This is what I thought was interesting. their sea smoke is still floating around and getting more and more like agitated. And Mysteria mentions it, and Rhaenyra just goes, "Oh, he's just restless." And Mysteria is like,
No. Oh yeah, okay.
yeah. But
Rhaenyra says he's restless.
And then later on, when she's talking to Allison and she talks about the dragon's behavior, she's like, they can smell battle. They know battle's coming.
Yeah.
And I was like, did she play that close to the vest? Like, does she not want to share that with Mysteria, or is it just not necessary in this moment? Or is restless the same as, they're itching for battle?
I don't know.
But Mysteria is just like, oh, well, maybe he's lonely.
There's lots of dragons around, but maybe it's the owner, because that was what's his face's, right?
That was
that
Laener's.
Disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so I think she's trying to say, maybe he needs a rider when she says he's lonely. And now I'm curious as to who. For a while, I thought that the daughter, Rhaena, was going to end up getting that dragon, because she doesn't have one,
right?
But instead, this episode, she gets sent away to the Vale with, those are Dany's eggs, right?
They are indeed, yes.
That makes me so sad, because I know how this ends,
Yeah.
Like big picture wise, I know how it ends, because we all watch Game of Thrones, so we know that all the dragons don't make it out of this. And I said it before, and I'm going to say it again, you guys. The hardest deaths for this are going to be the dragons for me.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to be the dragons. I'm so sad about what's about to happen. Like, I wish that there was a way to like make this go a different way. I also know, like, because of the way Game of Thrones played out, that we know that even though I'm like everybody's Team Black, like, they lose. So, like, the whole thing is futile.
Nobody wins. I'll say that.
That's a good
Nobody
way to put
really
it.
wins. So
yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna be sad about the dragons. I know Rhaenyra is not gonna sit on the throne, or maybe she sits on the throne, but then she dies or gets killed right away. I don't think she ever gets on the throne, the Iron Throne. It's so weird to be so invested in a prequel. We're having the same sort of thing with Ballad of Snakes song, the
Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes,
the Hunger Birds. The Hunger Games. Oh my god!
I don't know why that got me so bad, but the Hunger Birds is so good.
Ridiculous. That's why.
It's no worse than the actual title. That title is so bad. I don't know why they let that go through to print like that. Ugh, hate it.
But it's the same sort of thing, right? When you're watching a story and you have the big picture, you know where it ends up eventually in several decades or a generation, but still you're getting like all caught up in it anyway. Oh, it makes me so sad.
If it's well done. If it's well done. This is why you haven't watched Andor, have you?
I have not.
God, that's a good show. Man, one of the best. And that's, a prequel to a prequel, actually, because it's a prequel to the story of a character who shows up in the other prequel movie. So it's like really going back.
Right.
And, oh man, the tension, the level of acting in that show, it's like, I really want to cover it with somebody, but it's like, you are not the person to cover a Star Wars property with, No, so I'd have to find another person to do that with. But anyway, yeah. When prequels are done well, you can still really care. It's not about knowing where you're going exactly. It's like, how do we get where we're going?
But how did we get there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next scene is Rhaenyra telling Rhaena that she's going to send her away with her youngest children. to Lady Jane Eyre.
Raina is so pissed, and I feel so bad.
She is so upset, and she feels like it's because she can't be of use, that she's worthless because she doesn't have a dragon. Yeah. She feels like she has no fucking place with these people in this war, in this battle, in this family, because she doesn't have a dragon. And she's been granted, like being pushed away. I mean, personally, for me, you're giving us a baby dragon, some eggs, and your children, and sending me someplace safe. I'm kind of with that.
Honestly, same. But that's because we're old and wise.
But yeah, she does not take this well. Even though I think it's really a great honor, she's being entrusted with the princes.
I feel like once they actually leave, she kind of understands that. You know, there's a moment when she's being given the eggs, and she kind of stops and looks at Rhaenyra, and it felt like she's finally getting it. You know? Yeah.
But she really takes it as an insult. She's so devastated. Yeah. And then there's also mention that she should go and try to get in touch with the people in Pentos.
Right.
And after the kids are dropped off in the Vale, she should go there. And so I'm like, oh, is that how Dany's eggs ended up in Pentos? In Illyria, like how Illyria was able to eventually come across them, like how they ended up in that part of the world. So I was like, oh, that's a cute little, I want to call it an Easter egg, but we're talking about dragon eggs. And then I get all confused. I'm like, my brain doesn't know what joke to make. So it just glitches.
Yeah, that'd be a weird looking bunny.
Like one of Dr. Gull's bunnies.
No! Oh God, no. No. I hate it.
And that is a Hunger Games reference for you guys that are not listening along with us. And if you're not, why not?
That's true. Go get on that. So then we have my favorite scene in the whole episode, which is Daemon taking Harrenhal alone by himself, and then just walking into the room and saying, "I'm seizing Harrenhal," and Simon Strong saying, "Apparently so." Oh, I loved this so much. This guy was great.
It's really good because the lead up to it is so dramatic. There's like thunder and lightning, and a dragon is coming towards this enormous, castle, and people are screaming and running, and you think, oh, it's about to be on. It's about to, really be something. And it is a whole lot of nothing, because this place is fucking ramshackle city. There is nobody fucking there. The fucking castle is raggedy as fuck. It's falling apart. There's like 7 dudes there in the whole castle. There's like 7 motherfuckers there. And they are in the middle of dinner. And they're fucking don't give a fuck about Aegon. Fuck Aegon. So they're not even, you know what I mean? Like, it just...
Yeah, he tries to say something about how, like, I know that your liege lord is with the high towers. And Simon is like, oh yeah, our liege lord, whose father and brother both mysteriously died in a fire in the wettest part of Westeros you've ever seen.
This place is like damp and dank and musty as fuck. And there's nothing about anything here that screams, this is a fire hazard.
I actually shared a screenshot of this episode. So there's an episode of the IT Crowd where Roy is dating this girl, and it's going really, really well, but she has this like tragic past that she has alluded to, and he hasn't wanted to ask about it because it's sensitive. And eventually she confides in him that her parents died in a fire, and he's trying to tell them the story, and he's got this really weird look on his face as everybody's like, oh, a fire. Oh, that's terrible. And he's like, yeah, and he's like, it was at a sea park, like like
a water park,
and like a Sea World, basically. And everybody sort of stops and is like, sea parks? Yeah, a fire at a sea parks. And everybody's sort of stopping and looking at each other, and they're like, how would, I don't know. And somebody's like, that just seems like a really weird place to go on fire. It seems very weird. Have you asked her? No. We can never talk about it again. It's driving me insane. Everything was going so well, and now I can't stop wondering how this would even happen. And he starts to be like, maybe if like the seats, like the plastic seats, and somebody else is like, I have gone there and they have stone seats. It's not plastic seats. He's like, God damn it! Like, he can't figure it out. So that was just what I kept thinking about with this one. Because, yeah, this dude is not to be fooled. I didn't realize that folks were as onto Laris as they are, and I sure didn't think if anybody was onto him that it was, like, his own people.
Yeah,
thought he wasn't shit, you know?
Yeah, they definitely think it's very suspicious. They are just like, fuck that guy. We pledge fealty to Rhaenyra. Like, no fuss, no muss. And... my God, there's like nothing. He's got like his battle armor worn, and he's got the sword. What is it? Night Sister or something?
Is that his? Okay. I didn't remember, but I know there's a song that's called Silent Sister. Is it? Might be.
Maybe that's
I don't
what
know.
it is, but
no, Night Sister sounds right.
No, Silent Sisters are the fucking ones that do the
bodies.
Yeah. But anyway, he's ready. He's ready for action. And there is no action. He turns a corner thinking that there's noise, and it's just a fucking big flock of birds. I
love it so much.
And
when they're like, have some of the peas, when he finally sits down to dinner, he's like, I'm not going to fall for poison. And they're like, our cook isn't amazing, but like poison, that's a little excessive.
And then he says something like, poison would be a good way to take care of a dragon rider. And the guys were just like, yeah, dude, whatever. It's like, whatever. And yeah, this is when Daemon finds out about the Blackwoods and the Brackens, and that one side has declared, because Daemon says something like, you've got like 40,000 men that haven't declared, and Simon is like, that's not exactly true. You've out of the loop. But
didn't you get a ping on that Google alert?
Right, like you weren't in the group chat for that? Oh, dude, my bad.
Let me tell you about some drama. I have screenshots. Hold on. Okay, so this is also the scene when they're like, my prince, and he says, your grace.
Listen, what is that?
He's like, I'm married to the queen, so I get to be a your grace too?
Is that because he's king consort? So I honestly, guys, I don't know if that is how that works.
I think it was supposed to be like prince consort. I don't think it's king consort. Because kings, like,
Corlys calls him king consort in last week's episode.
He would, though.
And then that's when Rhaenys was like, yeah, but he's not king.
Okay. You guys, I really had a moment of like, are we going off book here? Is he just trying to be like, screw Rhaenyra now? I'm going to make myself king? Like, I really got confused for a moment until I understood like what was happening here. But the pettiness of it, and everybody around him sort of being like, wait, what? Like, again, Daemon, aren't you embarrassed? I just keep having this with you.
Yeah. I feel like, because Simon is like, when he calls him Prince, Simon is like, I'm sorry. He starts to say, forgive me. I just assumed as Prince. And he says, let's see, where is it? It's right here. I only assumed that his consort, and then Damon interrupts him and is like, we're going to be careful about our assumptions because those were dangerous.
Yeah.
So I think that this is a deviation from the norm. Damon asking to be called or demanding to be referred to as Your Grace. So I don't think like when you talk about having a moment of being like, hang on, is he trying to fucking usurp also?
Yeah.
But I think this is Damon on a power trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is still acting in his mind on behalf of the queen, but it's clear that because remember last time too, she was like, am I your queen? Do you obey me? And all that. And he never gives her an answer. This is another indication that Damon sees himself at the very least as Rhaenyra's equal, if not probably her better, right? He has a better claim to the throne. He's a better warrior, a better dragon rider. He's just a better Targaryen all around in his mind. And ego always with Damon comes back to ego, right? His own ambitions, and making them call him, his grace or their grace. Low key, like in the lowest of keys, is a bad reflection on Rhaenyra.
Agree.
Like it's like shady, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just not great. It's not a good look. Is what I'm
even
saying.
when I realized that it wasn't what I was thinking for a second, I was like, that still feels like it's just towing that line in a way that's probably not going to look great for her to other people. This guy's here as her representative, and he is, ooh, like awesome.
Like if he would do this, like he can get away with this because there's literally nobody fucking here in this castle, and there's nobody to check him. But he doesn't demand to be called Your Grace when Rhaenyra's in the room. Like he's not doing that shit. Hopefully. I mean, he's got a lot. Like he's the. I feel like I don't want to start making. Like he just warned me about making assumptions, so I don't want to make a lot of assumptions about what Damon is capable of because I feel like that is a very deep, deep, deep well of the shit that he's capable of doing. So when I say I don't think he would demand to be called Your Grace in Rhaenyra's presence, that's me giving him like the benefit of the doubt, being like he can't be that fucking. His head
We've
can't
never
be that
seen
far,
it happen, so right? I don't think. Yeah,
like he can't be that far gone. His head can't be that far up his ass yet, at least. But so yeah, then he starts talking about why he needs Harrenhal, and that they need to get the castle ready because they need a place that's big enough to garrison this army that Damon is about to raise.
Yeah.
And they're just like, I mean, even if we had the money, did you look around? you see what we're working here with? I mean, we would be happy to do that. But by the way, that number you just dropped, they're kind of beefing right now. And that's when
very optimistic, sir.
And this is when he tries to get the story of like, what is the problem between the Blackwoods and the Brackens? And Simon is just like, it's a tale as old as time.
Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, I really enjoyed Simon Strong, unexpected MVP of this episode. Yeah. That apparently so. I feel like I want to screenshot that and make it a new react for like comment sections.
I like too. We get a little bit of conversation about the Tullys because they're in the Riverlands, and the Tullys are the I guess the Blackwoods and the Brackens are bannerman of the Tullys. So Damon is like, well, I'll just go fucking talk to the boss then. If these guys are beefing, I'll just go over their head. And Simon is like, I don't know what you've heard about Grover Tully, but he is in a bad way. He's in a real bad way. And talks about how like he's like can barely speak, he can't hold his bowels anymore. And Damon says something like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like no matter what his health is, they should be listening to their fucking liege lord.
Yeah. And that felt very pointed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well. Yeah. You know what, Damon?
And then the fucking, when he says the throne.
It's a chair made out of swords.
That was very Jamie Lannister.
Keep it to yourself, Damon. I'm not interested in being entertained by you anymore. You've had it. Enough already. I can't like him anymore, guys. I can't like him. I know that it's out there. The opinion is just basically he's too hot to do anything wrong. I don't find him hot to begin with.
It's not that he's hot. That people. Well, I don't know what kind of people.
No, it is, Rashawn.
The people I've seen say that it's not that he's hot, like that he's physically attractive, but that there's constant reference to his swagger. You know, they just like his energy, the way he moves through the world. People are really responding to, but I haven't heard anybody.
Very different, like circle on the internet. Than mine, then.
Yeah. Like, because people just like there's been like a handful of people that have been like, no, I'll just say it. He's fucking hot. But most people are like, no, he's funny looking as fuck. But he's got, he's got that fucking swagger that you're just like, oh shit, here he comes. What's he gonna do?
Like, funny looking people can be hot. They can both be true. Mm-hmm. But with him, that just isn't how he hits for me. But I just, after the way that he behaved in this last episode and how petulant, that's the only word I can think of. It was so unattractive to me. He's like a step away from Joffrey yelling like, I am the king. Well, sir, nobody thinks that you are, and you don't have the crown or the castle, and you are fucking up right and left and then just running away to another fucking island destination when you do fuck up because you're having a little tantrum.
Slips away.
Yeah, I just can't take you seriously anymore. It's like, what does he have to do for it to stop being swagger and to just start being unwarranted arrogance?
I think that there's a very fine line between those two in real life.
Yeah.
And most people, myself included, have found ourselves on either side of that line, depending, it's a very, very fine line from somebody's confidence that's being attractive to it crossing over into arrogance and unmitigated gall. And when it does happen, you just sort of wake up one day and you look at the person, you're just like, wait, what? When did what? Because, you didn't realize how close to the line you were and what little it would take to cross it. Anyway, that's my opinion.
Interesting. So then we have the mustering of the men who are going to be heading out with Kristen Cole. And we have the introduction of Gwaine Hightower.
Yes.
Who is very unserious.
Yeah, Allison's brother shows up and is just like, isn't this a lark? We marched all the way down here for fun. We heard a war was brewing. And
he is so aggro about Kristen being the hand, and it's just like, funny. Yeah, it's really interesting for you to be managing to like climb your way up the ladder.
Oh yeah, you common born nobody replaced my father who had been hand to 3 kings.
Mm-hmm.
How exactly did you manage that? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of shade there. It is like not concealed or barely
No, not even a
concealed,
little
you
bit.
know?
He is very like almost openly hostile, but it's not quite hostile. It's all under this like passive aggressive smile.
Mm-hmm. What
But
a gidding ascent the gods have graced you with, or something like that, he says. It's very good. It's very good. And Allison is like, by the way, he's going to be joining you. And Cole is like, the fuck he is. We're
mm-hmm.
full. We're full. And she says, well, you'll just be fuller. I honestly, you guys, I love that for her. I loved seeing her like be be assertive and be like,
Yes.
this is what's about to happen. You can't stop it from happening. This is what I decree. My brother's riding out, and low key between me and you, it's because I don't fucking trust you. I don't fucking trust your judgment. And I think she's wrong here. I think that my brother going along makes me feel a little bit better about what you're about to get into.
Yeah, she's deaf wrong, but
Yeah. She
considering the way Kristen behaved, I don't blame her for just feeling like I don't know what you are going to decide out there.
I need somebody that
madman.
I can trust, that I feel like has the best interest of me and my family in mind, that will be prudent. And it's just, she doesn't know her brother. She hasn't seen him, I'm assuming, in quite some time. So she's just sort of trusting that he is the type of man she hopes that he is. We don't get a lot of Gwaine, but the way that he is very like nonchalant on this march, and very like, let's stop at the inn and get cozy and get a couple drinks and maybe a couple bitches, and everything's fine. That is not, I don't think that's what Allison intended to send out.
I don't think she did, but at the same time, I can't help but wonder if maybe there wasn't a little bit of like, I know he's going to be a pain in your ass, but you deserve it. God, I don't know.
That would be just delightful. If she is being petty in that way, that is tremendous. Listen, if she has sent her pain in the ass brother, who is just going to be kind of lackadaisical and not serious and a thorn in Kristen Cole's side, and she's doing it just for the fucking petty of it all.
You here for it?
I'm so goddamn here for it. I really am. Please, gods, let that be what's happening here. Let that be her motivation.
The vibe off of Gwaine is very like, while they're on the road, it's not even just like, I'm not taking this seriously, although it's certainly that, but it feels very much like I'm going to challenge you at every step about what you are saying we should do, and say the opposite just to see how you handle it. So maybe it's that. It's like, I want somebody out there who's going to constantly be like, why should we do it that way though? What if we did it the other way? Because he clearly resents this dude that he has never met. Rightly so.
Yeah. What do you make of this favor? Him asking her for her.
I don't know what to make of that. It was really weird. It almost felt like he was trying to make up for being such an asshole to her at the council meeting and be like, we're good, right? I'm still like your guy. But I just don't think he actually cares about her. I don't know why he would, I don't know.
I was so confused by this. I felt like such an adult because, like, I understand they're in public, so they have to be very careful with how they present to each other and the emotions that they share and all that. So I didn't expect like a big sentimental scene. But asking for it. She gives it so begrudgingly. There's a moment where it looked like when she's handing him what I think is just a handkerchief.
Yeah.
It looks like he tries to rub her hand, like her thumb or something, and she kind of pulls her hand back pretty fast. And then she gives him kind of a like, is there anything else kind of look? And then he walks away. But yeah, I really wasn't sure. I was curious what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe it is him trying to be like, or like, I'm gonna try and appeal to you on a romantic level, because I can tell by the way you foisted your brother on me that you're pissed. So I'm going to try and mitigate that a little bit. And maybe that she sees through it, that he's like thinking, oh, she's going to go all dewy eyed at me being cute to her. And she's looking at him like, are you fucking serious? You think I'm going to fall for that? I know what you're doing. Here's my fucking handkerchief. Get out of my sight,
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I'd like to hear folks with guys listening have thoughts on that scene, your own interpretations. I'd be curious to see what other people made of that.
Yeah, same.
And then we go to Rhaenyra's council, and it's as frustrating as the other one was.
I hated this scene so much. I really wanted to pop every one of these goddamn men in the mouth. Ugh, I hate them. Hate them all so much. They're such shits. They're so condescending. They're so short-sighted. They're so eager to deploy the dragons because it's just that they're cool is really like the energy that they give off about it, not thinking through the long-term repercussions of doing this, the way that everybody else is going to be affected by it. They just don't care. Yeah. And she's so
trying to be like, you guys don't understand the point of the dragons. The point of the dragon isn't to unleash them. It's the threat of unleashing them is how we use the dragons. Mm-hmm. And Rhaenyra is like, and the Greens also understand that. They're not going to just loose their dragons because Rhaenyra is thinking of Alicent and Otto and those type of people being in charge, as opposed to the Aegons and the Christian Coles of the world being in charge. And these folks are just like, yeah, let the dragons loose, and we're going to start turning people who were green to our side by, threat of dragon fire, which is just wild to me, but I guess that's how war works, right?
I guess.
Like hearts and minds is not a thing yet. It's not a political strategy yet. And this whole council just goes on. And the whole time, Rhaenys is just like watching Rhaenyra, like just to see, what she's saying, how is she taking it. And she's getting so much pushback. And you're right, the laughter in her face. I don't even know which this guy's name is. That is just like something about like a sword in its sheath doesn't fucking win wars, Mm-hmm. Okay, guy.
Yeah.
like there's
I really hate when people come up with these sorts of like metaphors because it sounds so convincing, but you're comparing two totally different weapons, so it's just a completely invalid argument. Exactly. I hate that shit.
You cannot compare a single man with a single sword to somebody riding a fucking dragon. And that's what it is too, right? We are surrounded, Rhaenyra and Alicent and, both sides. These are all people who haven't lived through a dragon war. They only know about it from the history books, right? So you have all of these non-dragon people, non-Targaryen, well, I don't know if there's non-Targaryens, I'll call them, on both sides that are just like, let them fucking dragons go. Because, dragons, yay, dragons. And none of them are like, it doesn't seem like they truly comprehend the power that they're talking about unleashing on the world. They don't really, really get it. And it would be impossible for them to, because none of them have lived through it. Rhaenyra has been at her father's side for so long, and he was so adamant about the way you use dragons and how dangerous it is, and how what Viserys thought of using dragons, and almost to the point of being like, it was the worst thing that we ever did. Like, we never should have done this. We never should have unleashed them onto the world. It was unnatural. And then I guess also like the prophecy that's floating around in her head that her father, put in there.
Yeah.
But there's just like a fundamental lack of respect for the power of these dragons. And like, you're not going to take a dragon and burn a stronghold and then be like, and now you're on my side. I mean, you could you could do that. And the people would probably kneel to you. I mean, it worked for Aegon the Conqueror. But if you burn everything up, what is there to use? Who is there to fight for you? If you have to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah. I definitely get it. And that's exactly the thing, is that everybody is so short-sighted here. They're not thinking about, like, it's like when was it, what was the name of Daenerys's father, the Mad King?
Aerys?
Was he Viserys also? Aerys.
It was
just Aerys. Yeah. And he's like about to burn the place down with fucking wildfire, and he's like, let them be like rule over ashes and bone, and that's essentially what everybody else is saying, but they're not saying it because they aren't even thinking that far.
Yep. And then there's all this talk of Daemon in fucking, where's Daemon? What's Daemon doing?
Their name is not on the screen. Everybody should be asking, where's Daemon?
Well, fucking done. You should be charging extra for that Poochie content.
That sounded so filthy. I know what you meant, but if you are out of context, you're just like, excuse me, man.
Well, get hip. That's all I'm going to say.
Get on that OnlyFans for that Poochie content. Anyway, but yeah, it's again very clear. Like, we would rather a guy be in charge. That's what we would prefer. Please do that.
To the point where they're just like, we should probably send you someplace else for safety reasons. We'll just secret you away somewhere, put you in a tower somewhere. And Rhaenyra's like, I'm sorry, what? You were thinking about doing what now?
Oh my God. Because they're trying to frame it like, you just got attacked in your bed. You are very vulnerable. And like, sure, yes, but like, we'll secrete you somewhere as a distraction for the enemy. And she says, you propose to conduct the war in my absence. It would merely be a precaution. It would be treason. And he seems truly stunned that she would even say that. Like, he looks so pissed at the way he like bites his sentence off. And I don't know how this actor is doing it, but they are making their face flush here in a way that feels so real that I was like, how? But yeah, Rhaenyra's face is like turning red and just saying like, you are all very lucky that you didn't just carry on the way you clearly intended to, because this would not have gone well for you.
Yep. Love this moment for her. Now, let me ask you a question. Rhaenys is not her hand, even though she should be.
No, she's not.
And I read that Corlys is her hand.
Is he?
That's what I read in a comment section, but I don't see him nowhere in the council meeting. So does she have it? Who is her hand?
I don't know.
Well,
if somebody said Corlys, I believe that they would know better because I have not gotten an answer.
Oh, it was not. It was not in our comment section.
Here.
It was not in our comment section. So,
it was just some filthy casual.
Just
okay,
some
gotcha.
casual shit. So, like, I didn't know what to trust it or not, and I couldn't fact check it. So I couldn't go look it up. But it made me wonder because Corliss is in Driftmark. He hasn't. It seems like. Well, actually, I don't know if he's in Driftmark or not. I know he was in the first episode, but maybe he's at Dragonstone too. Because
I don't think because she goes out and has a conversation with him after this meeting.
Right. So maybe
Rhaenys does.
So, but did she fly home or is he just here? He must be here, right? But why isn't he in his fucking meeting? I guess is my main point. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I do not know.
Right, but after Rhaenyra walks out, Rhaenys is just like, I'm going to remind you guys whose fucking crown she's wearing to give you a little insight into who you're dealing with, because clearly you all are confused, and reminds them that she's wearing what she says, my grandsire's crown, Jaehaerys, who had the longest peace, the conciliator, and remember who the fuck you're dealing with. This way you're coming at Rhaenyra is not going to work. That's not who she is yet, anyway.
It's such a great moment of Rhaenys understanding who she's dealing with, but it being so gross to stop and think about because she has to invoke a man's name in order to get them to back off and think about their actions here. And it's the man who disinherited her.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's somebody that fucked her over, and she has to use their name as a way to get through to these imbeciles here. And it's so infuriating that she knows I can't just tell them she's your fucking queen. What is the matter with you? They aren't going to hear that. They have to be reminded who she's related to, somebody they actually respect.
Yeah.
And who, didn't respect her enough to let her keep her inheritance even. But
the only thing I liked about it is that later on when we see Aegon getting dressed because he thinks he's going to take his dragon somewhere, and he is dressing up in Aegon the Conqueror's style of armor, of dragon riding armor. And it just was it was worked well with what Rhaenys had said earlier with the idea of who are so it's a couple of different things. Eric is the one who brought the crown to Rhaenyra. I cannot remember where he got it from or how he chose it, but it's not like Rhaenyra chose, unless she did, and she used, you know what I mean? She didn't.
I don't remember how that worked out.
She didn't choose a particular crown, I don't think. But the idea that she shares the same temperament and would even style her rule after Jaehaerys. And then you have Aegon attempting to style himself after the Conqueror by the trappings of them all,
Right, right.
When Otto specifically picks out that crown and that sword for Aegon's coronation, he says, we need to dress him up to look the part, I took it at face value as just literally just dressing up. Not that this was.
These are heirlooms.
Yeah, but not I should think about whose crown they're wearing as an indication of what type of person they want to be, what type of ruler they want to be. Because again, as far as I can tell, Rhaenyra didn't choose her crown. Eric stole a crown for her when he came over. But I might be missing a beat on that. So, again, to listeners, if you have any thoughts about that situation, go ahead and drop them in the group, in the Facebook group, so I'll see them. Because I'm very curious about that. Because it's going to take more than the crown and the sword for Aegon the second here to fill the shoes of Aegon the Conqueror, right?
Yeah.
Like, just because he's wearing that crown. Like, I'm trying to imagine somebody making Rhaenys' speech, but making it about Aegon based on the crown that he's wearing. And it just doesn't work.
It sure doesn't.
Doesn't work, right? So part of me is like, is that even a factor? Like, you know, like reminding them whose crown that Rhaenyra wears? Unless it really is just to your point of having to invoke the memory of a king that they did respect in order to get them to respect her as queen.
I really think it's that simple.
That's a huge bummer. Why are men?
This is what I'm saying. Like, it just made me really sad because it's not just that she has to do this, but that she like understands the nature of men to know that this is the way, because she's had to deal with this bullshit herself her entire life, you know?
That's the other thing too about Rhaenys, is that she's been dealing with this bullshit her whole life, that as she had the crown passed over, and I guess for her, there must be moments where she is just like, God, I can't believe I even wanted this. This seems awful. And wondering also, you know, I don't know if she is or not, but I'd be curious if Rhaenys wonders, like, if she had been given the crown, would the realm have fractured under her rule as well? You know, and she would have ended up in a similar situation. And I feel like she probably would have. I don't know who they would have rallied around, because Viserys was not, from what I can tell, like, he's no Daemon. So
no, definitely not.
You know, like, I don't know if Rhaenys had been crowned, would they have rallied around and tried to insist that she had usurped Viserys' rightful place? You know, would it have been Daemon? Would people have rallied around Daemon and been like, he should have been the one? I mean, I don't know. But I feel for sure that they would have found some excuse to find some man who should have been on the throne instead. And we would have seen a similar sort of fraction.
Fraction?
Fraction? Friction? Nope.
Faction.
Fracture.
Fracture.
I was going for fracture.
Okay, I thought you were trying to say faction. I gotcha.
A little bit of A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah, you know.
Then with fraction, because now we're talking about math.
All right. So then we have her conversing with Corlys out by the docks in the rain. And they're talking about his heirs, and that none of them has any idea about ships. To which I say, why didn't you teach them about ships then, Corlys?
That's a very good question.
They're your heirs. You knew that, right? You knew the whole time that these were going to be your heirs.
He was gone for a long time when they were very little. There was that.
Yeah.
But,
you could have somebody teach them when you're not there, though. Like, that's sort of on you, my guy. It's just really, he's acting like they should have just absorbed somehow through osmosis what they need to know. And I'm like, you're their parent. Anything that you feel they aren't, like, educated on is directly your fault. So what are you even whining about?
Well,
I was very irritated. I'm just like, look, I've kind of like lost my shine on Corlys after the whole way that he behaved regarding Rhaenys, and obviously kind of like still having this misogynist streak in him as well, despite everything. So I'm just
these are his grandchildren that they're talking about, that he didn't have any control over where they lived. Like, these are, let's see, these are Rhaenyra's kids. So he's saying like, you know, they don't.
I thought they were talking about Bela here.
Bela and Bela is with Rhaenyra, and no, Rhaena is with. Rhaena grew up with Rhaenyra. Bela grew up with them on Driftmark.
Right.
So, all right, let's go to the scene. Oh, I think Corlys is hand, because Rhaena says, first thing she says to him is that Rhaenyra is having a hard time with the council, and I think that she's going to need you by your side soon.
Okay.
And he's just, and so let me fast forward to when they start talking about the kids. Oh my God, when you're waiting for something to come, it takes.
I know.
Right.
This is always so awkward when I'm doing like a spoil me as well, because there's nobody else to like vamp with while I'm searching for it. It's just me like looking like I'm sort of spacing out because I'm staring at a different screen.
All right. So let's see. She says that if it wouldn't displease Rhaenyra if Rhaena was named Princess of Driftmark, right? And that's when he's like, Rhaena, Lord of Tide, she doesn't know anything about anything. And then Rhaena says, well, there's Rhaena or Joffrey. Now, Joffrey is the last kid that Rhaenyra had with Harwin.
Okay.
Right. So that's one of his grandkids. But Rhaena grew up at Driftmark. So he is being kind of like, she doesn't know anything. But there were not even the Corlys didn't teach her. There should have been plenty of people there to teach her. But she's a dragon rider. So the fuck she give a fuck about boats? We got a dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's what he's really saying here is not so much that he wasn't available to teach her or that they didn't have anybody to teach her, but she's not a ship person. She's a dragon person. And that's like the point that he's making. Like she, wasn't interested in any of this shit because, and honestly, y'all, come on, boats or dragon?
Yeah.
What are you picking?
That's true. I think I'm just, I am bitch eating crackers with Corlys at this point.
I still like Corlys.
He's made me mad. I want to like him because Rhaena likes him. Not Rhaena. Rhaenys. Oh my God, you guys, these fucking names. Jesus Christ.
I mean. But
because I like her so much, I am very defensive of her and have not forgotten. So yeah, anyway, that's the most of the conversation is just like who's going to be heir, whatever. And then we go over to the scene with first we say goodbye to okay, so this is Rhaena. The names. And the eggs and this whole scene. Rhaenyra saying goodbye to her youngest. And I'm going to jump right past that to Helaena and Alicent. When Helaena forgives Alicent.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I loved Helaena. Like, this is not something that I think is actually fair, but I appreciate so much that she thought of it this way. But Helaena is just like, I'm really sad over my son dying. And I feel like I probably shouldn't be because all of the small folk have such a worse like birth rate than we do as highborn ladies with healers and access to stuff. And I'm sure that they were looking at me and my grief and just kind of thinking like, who the fuck are you to be sad about a thing? Which I don't think is true. I don't think it's fair. But just the fact that she is considering her position versus other small folk.
Right.
And what they would go through.
Yeah, she even
wins a lot of points for me.
Like how many babies they must lose. I want to just fix, in case people are like commenting right now if they pause the episode, I got the girls confused. So Raina does not have a dragon. Bela has the dragon.
That's what I thought they were talking about.
So they're talking about Raina. Corliss and Rhaenys are talking about Raina. Raina's the one that doesn't have a dragon. But Raina is the one, I think, that grew up with I think she's the one that grew up with Rhaenyra. Raina was engaged to Luke, and Luke was going to be Prince of Tide. Oh my god, Prince of Tides. How did that not ever come up before?
I have been, it's come up in my brain, I'll promise you that. I haven't said it, but it's only barely that I've escaped.
So if I got
the Lord of Tides.
Right, so Raina was engaged to Luke. Luke was going to be Lord of Tides. Bela is with Jacaerys, and that's how that goes. And they both have dragons. So they are talking about Raina being Lord of or Princess of the Tides, or whatever her title would be, because she would have been that had she married and Luke had not been murdered.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what that is. But now my whole theory about choosing dragons over boats doesn't work, because she does not have a dragon. So now we're right back to, why don't this bitch know about boats?
After these messages, we'll return to why don't this bitch know about boats?
I wish I could remember for certain who warded where, but I think that is right. I think I got it right this last time, but I don't know. With these names, who fucking knows?
I have low-key given up on ever remembering anything, and just accept that whatever it is we get wrong, we'll correct next episode. We'll get there eventually, guys. We know. Somebody out there will tell us. It'll be fine. But okay, so yeah, this conversation with Helena and Alicent, it's so sweet. She says, "I warrant they thought I had no more right to grief than they do." And as she's saying this, Alicent isn't looking really sort of stricken, is the only word I can think. She's just doesn't know what to say to her, and clearly feels a lot of sympathy for her, but she isn't good at comforting people. She does not know how to reach out. And also her profound guilt is so it's such an obstacle to everything.
I think that's true, because it's hard to, people change as they get older, but young Alicent at least seemed so much warmer and was able to comfort people, because that's how she got the fucking king's bed, So this coldness or this distance that has come over the years is, in my opinion, a result of her bitterness, that her unaddressed bitterness at her lot in life, right? Which is that she was pretty much given to an old man and forced to pop out kids for him. And not that she didn't care for Viserys or grow to love him and all that jazz. I'm not saying that. But she didn't have a choice in it, like most women of her station of this time in this universe. She didn't have a choice. There was a resentment that didn't have an outlet, and then she got hyper-focused on Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra was just out here doing as she pleased. And this bitterness just grew over the years, and the more it grew within her, the less able she became to connect with really anyone, it seems like. Even her children. And then add the guilt component to her behavior with Cole and her behavior with Larys and the shenanigans that they got up to together, which included murdering people, you know. And she's built this wall. And even in the moments where she desperately wants to reach out through to her children, she just can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
And I keep thinking about the fact that her and Kristen Cole, like, if we're going to go with the idea that Rhaenyra and Alicent were in love with each other, and Kristen Cole was in love with Rhaenyra, then are they fucking each other as a way to try and fuck Rhaenyra secondhand?
I think that's a very interesting theory. I think that they are fucking her to metaphorically, well, not metaphorically, but like to fuck Rhaenyra, but not like in a sexual sense, but like to revenge against Rhaenyra by fucking each other. It sounds to me like you're talking a little bit more literal, like their
connection with each other was
like their unrequited feelings for Rhaenyra have been redirected to each other, so that they're kind of fulfilling that by being with each other.
Right.
But I think it might be.
But revenge also works.
Yeah, I think it might be a real, like, a middle finger. They think they're giving Rhaenyra some kind of middle finger. You know, some kind of like, fuck you.
I don't need you.
You know, meanwhile, Rhaenyra is like, I don't even
remember your name.
Like, what? Oh, the cinnamon and oranges guy? That guy? Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you can have him, I guess. You like cinnamon? I didn't know that. Good for you. Happy for you. So yeah, the only thing she can say is the stranger comes for us all, queen and commoner. And you have as much claim to grief as anyone. And she holds Helena's like eye contact for a moment. And Helena says, and you? And she says, I loved Jaehaerys, but my concern has been more for what you have endured. And Helena gets up and she starts to be like, and Helena just interrupts and says, I forgive you. And she says, what? And Helena's got her back to her at first, but she turns around and looks her in the eye and says, I said, I forgive you. Mm-hmm. And she really looks like she doesn't even know, like one of those moments of somebody forgiving you for something that you really thought unforgivable. Mm-hmm. And they give you that forgiveness and you're so like overwhelmed and grateful. And you're just like, I don't know if I could have been that gracious in your stead. Like there's a lot happening on her face there. Yep.
This, and it's so funny. Like Alicent has been so withholding of forgiveness. She's been holding this grudge against Rhaenyra and, you know, and whoever else. She has not extended the grace her daughter just showed her to practically anyone. Mm-hmm. And the person who had least, like, the person who had no reason to forgive Alicent is the one who forgives her.
Yeah.
Granted, so I feel like this forgiveness from Helena is holistic. Like it's for all of it. It's everything. Like I forgive you for fucking the guard. You know, I forgive you for that transgression. I also forgive you for the transgression of fucking the guard when he should have been out in front of the doors protecting me and my children. You know, I forgive you. It just felt like a very big forgiveness. You know,
well said.
You know what I mean? No, but it felt very much like
I do.
Like it was for a lot of things. That forgiveness was for a lot of things. Maybe I'm taking it to heart too much. But
it's so funny because like when you were like, I forgive you for fucking, Kristen Cole, and I'm thinking that you mean like because him being missing was when my kid got killed, but then you were like, and for fucking him when he should have been watching so I keep forgetting that like the fact that she's fucking him is probably a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Keep on forgetting that, like, because she's a widow. She's a queen who can do what she wants. She should be able to do what she wants. And so I keep being like, oh, wait, people have a problem with this? Who cares? What the fuck is, like, why should she care?
She's like fucking somebody who took a vow to like not fuck anybody.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Speaking of that fucking scene with Aegon and his friends.
Yeah, that's next. Yeah. So Aegon is getting fitted. He's got his fucking homies now in his King's Guard. These motherfuckers are going to get Aegon killed. None of them are qualified for this position. This is just this is terrible. Terrible. And I know he said he had a couple of roles to fill, but we lost like Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we need all four of these fucking numbskulls? What's happening? What's going on here?
And I keep being sort of confused that Kristen Cole can be Hand and still be like the commander of the Kingsguard, because I feel like I was thinking that he was getting replaced, and then the way that he's talked about, it seems not. So I was very confused by that. I thought we were replacing two people.
You would,
but
yeah, right? Like you would think, like they had to replace him as his Kingsguard, like as his personal protector, I guess, because now Cole is out running in the street, so he needs a new personal protector. But is the commander of the Kingsguard always the personal protector of the king? Is that how that works? I don't know.
I thought so.
But yeah, he's got these fucking these y'all. The first time something pops off, these motherfuckers, like they got drunk with him at the brothel. You can't also be. You can take the king out and let the king get drunk, but you can't get drunk with him. You have to be alert. You're fucking literally in the title. You're guarding the king. You can't be all sloppy and shit. This is terrible. And Aegon is terrible for making this decision.
I couldn't tell at the end if he realized that he had fucked up. Like, do you think that look on his face is him understanding that, like, these dudes are not it?
I don't know. I mean, like, what tell. You mean like the like at the end of them joking around and he has to kind of
him being like, you took a vow of chastity, and them laughing and being like, oh, of course, and then realizing and being like,
I think his behavior with them later in the day says that if he did have a moment of realization, he fucking what do you call it? He hand waved it. You know, like he ends up just. Like, if he has a moment of being like, I'm the king and this behavior is not acceptable and you have all sworn a vow of chastity and I want you to fucking take it seriously, that passes. Because maybe he doesn't want them treating him differently. Like, they look at him.
This is like when you get promoted at work and all of your, like...
Yep.
Co-workers that you used to fuck around with and go smoke on the clock and shit. They all are just like, listen to you now? I got it.
Yep. And there's a moment where he goes and he's all in the armor and he looks in the mirror and looks at himself in the armor and then makes a very dissatisfied face. And it cuts to the tavern with, this fucking guy. Who is this guy? Who is this? I'm a dragon seed. This guy, is he full of shit? Is he really?
Hold on. We didn't talk about Larys coming in and whispering in his ear.
Right. Fucking Larys.
Look, I do not like Larys, but I will say he seems to be like the one person trying to rein some shit in around here. So at this point, I'm sort of like, reluctantly Team Laris, because even though he's clearly wanting him to do certain things for his own reasons, also there's just some common sense shit in the mix here that I'm like, thank God somebody was here to talk to him out of doing this. Because he's like getting ready to head out on his dragon to try and prove something to somebody. And what Laris does, and I love this, there are rumors that the king readies himself to fly to war. And this guard says, what is it to you? And he replies, only that I think it would benefit all of us to prevent our king from being brutally slain by our enemies and his body parts scattered to beasts and his court come to ruin. Wouldn't you agree? And I was like, look, Laris, I don't like you, but. So this is when he walks in, does the compliment on the armor. And I just wanted to have a word with you. And what he does is frames it like, well, many people are talking about how you are going out to battle and that you are courageous and wise to join them and blah, 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 blah. But also, some people are saying His Grace was outwitted by his counselors so that he would fly to war with Sir Criston and leave Queen Alicent to reign in his absence with Prince Aemond at her side.
Yeah, this is despicable. Sowing these seeds of distrust between this family, and it's so easy to do because there is so much animosity just under the surface between all of these children and their mother. And Aegon is so insecure in his position. Definitely feels like the lesser brother compared to his younger brother. And yeah, it's all it takes is just the mere suggestion that they just want him out of the way to rule in his stead because they don't believe he's a good ruler. Because he knows, one, he's not a good ruler. And two, he knows that they don't think he's a good ruler.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, look, what you said about it's despicable sowing this distrust, is it? Yes. But also, if this is what it takes to get this guy to not be a complete asshole and fly out on his dragon like a fucking jabroni when he's got no idea what he's doing, then maybe this is fine. Like, I can't even be that mad about it because he is so like deaf to sense that I guess you've got to play him.
Oh, it's the only way to get anything done.
Yeah,
it's the only way. It's the only way. It is, yeah, and it works so much better. Like the council thought that they had convinced him, and then you see him getting ready to do whatever the fuck he wants to do anyway, because they're just telling Aegon that he can't go because they can't afford to risk him. Just sounds to Aegon like you don't think I'm good enough to make it back. Right? So he doesn't take it seriously and he's not going to listen to them because it's just a sort of an insult and he's desperate to prove that he's worthy. But Laris slides in and is like, no.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, the only thing what Laris does here that is weird to me that doesn't track is that when he says, you know, they want you to fly off so that they can rule in your absence, but they don't want him to fly off. They told him to his face, don't fly off.
Yeah. That's what he's saying though. That he was outwitted. They pretended to not want him to fly off so that he would go ahead and do it. When in fact, it's Laris that's doing the reverse psychology. I love it. I can't help it. Like, this is such a great way to deal with somebody like this who's got such an immature outlook on the world. And you know, you're stuck with this idiot as king. I guess you gotta try and make the best of it. And if you know that he is this insecure, being like, well, everybody says that you're doing this because you feel like because you got played into it, instead of you thinking, I'm so tough and I'm so impressive and I'm going to show them all.
I mean,
I kind of respect it. I kind of respect it.
It fucking worked like gangbusters. It worked It worked immediately. And Egon is like, you know what?
This is what we should do with Trump.
Day. Fucking reverse psychology.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. You got to be able to remember what happened like 30 seconds beforehand for reverse psychology to work.
Touche. Oh God.
So yeah, so then that's
so this guy in the tavern. Real weird scene here. We follow him through the town. We've had a couple scenes of like following. I forgot. He gets made Master of Whispers. Also.
Yes. Yeah.
But the scene where Kristen Cole is like, finding all of his troops mustered. We are following some page or somebody who is like going to meet him and inform him that everybody is ready. And it's a long, tracking shot through this crowd of people in the
in the courtyard
of the castle.
It's right when the Greens show up, and it's like all these people in green bustling around, and Gawain or whatever is just being introduced. This is a couple of shots like that. Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I think it gives a really nice sense of place to everything. Especially it's not really an issue with this show, but sometimes when you're watching a fantasy show or something that's period, everything can feel very set-like, and doing something like this can help with it feeling like a larger world.
Yeah. It definitely makes it much more dynamic. You feel like things are happening off screen and like just to the edge of your periphery. It like you said, it builds the world up and out, I think. So they are in just a tavern. It looks like a regular old like watering hole. And this guy that we follow in, whose name I want to say is Ulf.
Yes.
But he's like telling some maybe tall tales. I don't know. They might be short tales. I don't know. Can't figure them out. But he's telling them.
They might be average. They might be average
tales. He's claiming to be the bastard son of, is it Balon?
Okay. So.
And I don't know like I have no idea what he's talking about. Like but yeah, go ahead. Tell me whatever it is that you're allowed to tell me.
I barely am able to tell you anything. He says that he's Jaehaerys's bastard.
Okay.
My father was called the Conciliator.
Oh, okay.
I really shouldn't be telling you this. You'll cost me my head. And then, are you saying you're a Targaryen? Shh! Which I did think was very funny. There's nobody listening. This tavern is full of like 80 people. Oh no, you're right. I'm the son of Balon the Brave. I think he was talking about Jaehaerys' grandfather. My bad. I can't tell you like any about how much of this is true and not, but he claims to be Daemon's bastard brother, uncle of Rhaenyra.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he refers to himself as something called a dragon seed, which is the bastards of Targaryens.
Yes.
Okay. So
I can't tell how much his friends believe this.
I mean,
there's a real sort of amused expression on the one guy's face.
It's giving, if you buy this guy a beer, he will tell you the wildest shit you've ever heard. You got to hear it for yourself, dude. You got to hear it for yourself. That's because they brought like this guy from Dorne is here, and it's like the guys were like, "Hey, want to go see something crazy?" Let me introduce you to this fucking guy.
He's like, oh yeah, and men would take my head for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you are telling a man that you have known for 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You aren't that worried, sir. You know?
Somebody says, well, you don't look like King Viserys. And the other guy is like, sure he does. Look at his hair. And I'm looking at his hair like, what? What am I looking at?
Yeah. Maybe it just needs a good wash. I don't know. But his response is just, how do you know what they look like? Which I did think was funny.
That's a real flex too, right? Because like, when was last time you was with the king? Like, tell me that.
And he points out that Rhaenyra's son doesn't have like the blonde hair either.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't tell if like, because, you know, we know that Jacaerys is technically a bastard. So I couldn't tell if he was saying like, us bastards, like this happens sometimes, if he knows that that's like the case, or if he's just using an example and doesn't know about that particular parallel. You know
I really did take it. I took it as like him. I don't know. Like my first read on it was that he's being sincere. That he's just being like, no, it happens. Like there's proof. You know, the fucking rightful heir to the throne has children, and they don't have silver hair. So that's no reason to fucking treat me like I'm not telling the truth. But it's hard to say because again, he just looks like some dude that you meet at the bar who,
Definitely.
you know, again, you buy him a drink and he's going to tell you some wild shit. But while he's in the middle of all this and he says like, you know, the rightful heir to the throne, and everybody starts standing up, and I thought it was because people heard him say it.
I did too.
It was about to be a ruckus, but it's because Aegon is here.
At a regular fucking tavern, looking really agitated. This is a dude who is going to drown his sorrows tonight. I really feel for Aegon. I really do.
He buys the whole room a drink, and everybody loves that. The guy who was just talking shit, like, comes in and is like, all hail your grace. Like, I mean, of course he has to, right? All hail the king. And I'm just like, you was like 2 seconds ago.
So we transition right from there to him and his friends going into this brothel. And there is a moment here, and I'm trying to find the exact timestamp. But evidently, Larys is in the background in this brothel. And this has been mentioned to me, but I didn't see him. So I'm like watching this unfold.
There he is.
Trying to see the moment. Where is it?
I just saw him.
First come in?
Yeah, they're coming in. It's I don't have a fucking. They walk in, and he puts his arm around the shoulders of the squire that's going to get fucked for the first time. And 3407.
3407. Okay.
Oh, you know what? This is the countdown. This is not the timestamp.
I was about to say I'm at 44 something.
Yeah, that's
all right. I'll look for 3407.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's like a lot of theory here. Oh my God. I didn't even notice that this girl that's giving this dude a blowjob, that is a very convincing blowjob. I'm like, what even is happening here? My goodness. And he's just yanking the fucking curtains open on literally everybody.
Not announcing himself. I knew what he was going to find. Like, it was clear what this was going to end up being, right? But they open up some curtains, and there is a lot of debauchery happening. They are getting it in. There's like one with like 5 people in there. But then eventually we get the payoff. He opens the curtain, and it's his brother and Sylvie. And Sylvie is who Aegon was looking for. He's like, you know, I know the perfect woman for you. I brought my brother here when he was a little kid. She's perfect. And then they open it, and Aemon is in there with her. And Aegon just laughs and laughs and laughs some more.
It's such a weird thing because it's like, to me, this isn't even worth making fun of, But it's, Aegon is so insecure. He resents his brother for being more respected and badass than he is. And this is just enough of like a vulnerable position that he can really leverage it, even though it's not actually like that
Shameful.
funny or shameful or anything.
I mean, like the only gag is that she's like old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could be fucking anything in here and you're back with this old lady that, you're still like hung up on the first one that ever gave you some pussy is what it's giving. Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, you're still just like crawling back to the same person after all these years. And isn't that pathetic?
Mm-hmm.
Like these women are to be used, not to be like grow accustomed to being favorites,
Right.
They're supposed to be like interchangeable, indistinct rather is that word. And the fact that you have a favorite and that she's the old maid here is pathetic. And so you're pathetic.
Yeah.
And then Aemon just gives us some full frontal.
Yeah, he do.
Yeah,
He just stands up,
walks. I didn't even put his slippers on. Just walks.
Forward-footed. My goodness, sir.
Just walks out through that nasty ass building and through nasty ass. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he put a cloak on or something by the door. I don't know. But what's really sad is that because of the ridicule and the being mocked, when Aemon leaves, he says something like, "I'm done. You can have her."
One door is as good as another.
Yeah. So I guess he's going to another bedroom. I'm assuming maybe he's not leaving. But, and we know that this woman is not just a whore to Aemon.
Mm-hmm.
But he pretends in the moment because he's humiliated.
Yeah, I can't tell how much she gives a shit. How much does she actually care about him and how much of it is just like she's paid to be here,
I think that in his way, which is maybe not the healthiest way we would want a person to move through the world, but I think in Aemon's way, there is an facsimile of affection, right? There's
Aemon,
yeah,
but for her, I'm talking about like if she heard what he said as he left, would she even care?
I think she would care, but
all I could think was like, oh, thanks, Aegon. You ruined her like best customer.
I think she would care because of the conversation that she had with Aemon last week, where she's using her proximity and her access to him to advocate for the small people. And that just got fucked.
So you don't think that she has real affection for him?
I think it is, again, her, like, if we talk about Aemon being, like, sort of damaged and dysfunctional in his ability to have affection for anyone, never mind a whore, I think she sees Aemon and she might have some affection for him, like a madam's version of affection for a client, not like necessarily what we would call affection for our loved ones, right?
Okay.
But like within that framework, I think that you can have an affection for a client if you're a sex worker and it not necessarily be the same as like the affection that I have for you or the affection that you have for Owen or whatever. But more so than just the sort of semblance of affection she's developed over a period of years for this boy who keeps coming to her. I think the greater, I think the greater loss in this moment is I had the ear of somebody very important and powerful.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's going to come back now. And that may have just got fucked up. Not necessarily, you know what I mean? I think that if she cares about anything, I think she would care about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my assumption as well. I just couldn't tell how much that she would be like personally hurt by what he said as he left.
I think she would be a little wounded. I think her pride would be just a little dinged, but you know, I'm sure she's accustomed to being talked to that way by lots and lots of people. So I'm sure she's got like a very thick skin around that type of disdain and that type of insult, even coming from someone who she thought wouldn't talk to her that way, you know.
Oh, Aegon.
He's just yucking it up too. It's
the laughter feels so false to me too. It just doesn't seem like, you know, it doesn't, I don't think he finds this funny. He's just elated that he has something to hold over him now. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think that, and also he's drunk off his ass.
There's that also, yeah.
You know, I think that's the you know, he had a really shitty day, was made to feel really shitty about himself. Needed to, you know, process that. Instead, goes out and gets really drunk to think about anything other than what's going on and how he's been made to feel about himself and how he already feels about himself. And then, like you say, he gets this gift, which is finding his brother in a very sort of vulnerable situation and then exploiting that to gain some of his own sense of power back. You know?
Yeah, agreed. So the next scene is Rhaenyra opening the letter that Alicent had sent after her son was killed, that she hadn't read because she was really blaming Alicent for things. And we don't get to see what it says. I'm pausing it just as she's opening it. And I'm just, Rhaenyra, I something, something, lest something, something, battling all the something, something, might also wish to blank, blank, blank to the mother, and with the hopes of, and that's it. That's all I can get from it. So then we get the scene that I loved, which is Kristen Cole getting chased by a dragon into the woods. This was some tension. I loved this. I was really thinking that this girl was about to light that entire forest up. And she does not do that. And I admire her restraint.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, guys. I don't know if I would have been able to hold back.
All she was told to do was to keep watch. Chasing them a little bit was even more so than she had been commanded to do. Yeah. You know? But, so she was already kind of breaking the rules by pursuing them. But yeah, she shows incredible restraint and does not, you know, light their asses up, which, you know, she probably could have and maybe should have. But then again, there still hasn't been an act of war directly, you know. Everything has been like subterfuge and like sending, you know, like either proxy wars like the Blackwoods and the Brackens, or these like assassin attempts, but there hasn't been like outright battle yet. Especially with dragons. And if she had done that, she would have been really setting something off that would have had to have been answered by dragon.
True.
So she does a good job here. I think that I'm like you. I don't know if I could have been able to hold myself back like if I had them in my sights like that.
Yeah. I don't know if also she probably doesn't have the personal animosity that
I was just going to make that same point. Like if she knew him like we knew him, she wouldn't have been able to hold back.
Yeah, I do feel that way. Like, I also can't help but, you know, it's a woman showing restraint when all the men seem to not be able to help themselves. Yet again, we're very on theme with this.
It's a pretty dope sequence, though. And her barreling really down on them and then having to pull up at the last minute when they go hide in the trees like a bunch of bitches. And this gives Cole the leverage to look at Gwen and be like, next time I fucking tell you to do something, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know? Because what had happened is Gwen and his men had left camp and were on their way to an inn. And
Just
Cole
fucking going off by themselves.
And Cole comes after them. And he's the one that hears the dragon approaching before anybody else does, because he's has the advantage of having lived with dragons the last however many years. So he hears it right away, and Gwen has to be like, "Good job," and Cole's like, "Goddamn right, good job."
Mm-hmm.
Next time, fucking listen. And we're all moving at night. We're staying in the trees, and nobody's going to a fucking inn, you asshole. And I don't like when Cole is vindicated.
I don't either. Same. I will say though, I really enjoyed getting to see how fast this fucking dragon is, because I feel like, the most that we have seen of the dragons are dragon on dragon with this show, or we have seen like Daenerys swooping down on armies that are like, kind of either on foot or they have cavalry, but they're not able to like get out of the way. They can't run away.
Right.
So this being the first time that we really see people on horseback in a position that they can flee, it's apparent just how incredibly fast these things are. And they're out in the open, and I had thought when he says like we're exposed, that they were closer to the woods than they were when he turns and is like, "Oh my God, guys, get in the trees." And then I see just the distance that they've got to go. Mm-hmm. And when she looks down and spots them, there's light glinting off their armor on the ground. So that's what she sees. Because I had thought when he looked up and saw the dragon that it was already coming for them, but it's not. She hasn't spotted them until they have already started to flee, which is, I think, probably the only reason they are able to get away from her. Because if she had seen them and been coming for them already, that would have been a wrap on that.
Yeah.
And she's got these like the reins on the dragon that I don't remember having seen before, and I'm sure we've seen, like, I'm sure that I just failed to notice it, but for all the world looks like jump ropes. It really does to me.
I think they had them on, I'm trying to remember when we had that scene in the last season when Damon and, what was the mom's name? Lena are like sort of sparring in the air on their two dragons and Pentos, and they're like going back and forth. But yeah, this whole sequence was dope as fuck. And I just like that last shot of her circling them while they're in the trees. Like, if she wanted to just light the trees up, she fucking could have. Mm-hmm. Like they're not necessarily, the trees aren't going to protect them from dragon fire. They're just going to protect, them from her line of vision. But if she wanted to just light that whole area up, she fucking could have. Yes.
Yeah, that whole forest could have gone down too, just from her trying to get these like 10 guys.
Yep.
But it's another good example of how much devastation dragons can wreak.
Right. And this is, I think, and I might be like off base here, but Kristen understands that the war hasn't gotten to the place yet where she's just going to light the trees up. Like, I think he understands when we think about what they talked about in a council meeting about not bringing the dragons out, and Kristen says that he doesn't want a dragon with him because if we encounter a dragon, then there's not going to be a way to stop the dragon on dragon violence. So I think he understands that the trees are not to protect them from dragon fire, but it's to obscure their movements, so that they can get where they're trying to head without, being spotted. Which she spotted them already, but they're guessing where he's going. But, that's just my little theory on that. Because, again, tree cover is not, like, the same as being safe from a dragon.
No, not at all.
And then when she goes home and she reports what she found, and somebody is like, she tells them, this is who I saw, probably a scout for a greater army. And then somebody is like, the Ravens have confirmed it. there's an army moving towards Rosby. And then somebody is like, how did you know it was coal from such a great height? I think it's Rhaenyra who says that.
Yeah.
And she has to be like, not such a great height, as a matter of fact, since you mentioned it. You said not to engage, so I didn't exactly. And Rhaenyra is looking at her like she wants to scold her, but then these council members jump in and they're like, we are grateful for, Lady Bayla's keen eyesight. And, she did, they're like being like, she did the right thing. Cause they, she had a dragon and she chased them and saw who it was. And this is what we want to do. And Rhaenyra ends up, I think, biting her tongue a little bit here.
Yeah, she does. Just a side note, but the actor playing Gwaine is very good at looking like he is about to piss his pants. He is like shaking as he's looking up from the trees. He really looks like this is somebody who has just found out. So that is satisfying.
Yeah.
All right.
This guy reminds me of somebody, but I can't put my finger on it. This guy playing Gwaine. I don't know if I recognize him from something else or something, but he reminds me of somebody. I just cannot put my finger on it. I might have to IMDb this actor.
IMDb.
But I'm not, though.
You suck. All right, let's go to Damon's weirdo dream. It's not made apparent immediately that it is a dream. But we have him asleep in Harrenhal, this giant wet ass place. WAP. And I do enjoy just him seeming to be kind of like resentful at taking a castle and then not really getting to enjoy it very much because it's just such a fucking wreck. But you also did get to take it like completely alone with no help. So I don't know what kind of castle you thought was going to go down to a single man, sir. And so he's like looking around and putting bowls underneath the drips from the ceiling.
Dark Sister, thank you.
That's
the name of it.
And he hears some footsteps and he looks and you see their feet underneath the door of somebody who has come to his door and shoved against it, trying to open it. But when he goes and opens the door himself, there is nobody there. And we all know Harrenhal is haunted AF. So
it really
that's
is.
A ghost.
It really is. I mean, didn't we have an episode in Game of Thrones called The Ghost of Harrenhal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They don't say that just for no reason, y'all.
So he goes out into the hall and begins to wander around. And it's like the place feels deserted again. But there's one room that's got a crackling fire. And he steps in. And there's a woman sitting with her back to him and humming. And when he gets closer, it's a young Rhaenyra sewing Jaehaerys's head back on. And she says to him, always coming and going, aren't you? And then I'm left to clean up your mess. And I have to clean up afterwards. And he sees the child, and it's just like a real eerie. He has a look of like, what the fuck am I seeing here? I call this a dream, but is this like a vision? I feel like this isn't technically a dream. Does he like wake up? Do we ever see him actually wake? He
startles, and then he's just like back outside, and he's outside of like a weirwood tree. With like, it's just a very, very quick transition. We don't see him walk there or anything. And then he's in front of the tree and there's a woman in a cloak. That tells him that he will die in this place.
Yeah.
Who is this woman?
We do not know. Who indeed? She's got long dark hair. Her face is very like Rhaenyra's, but it may just be that actors are all pretty.
Yeah.
And, there's only so much variation in that, but her face really reminded me of Rhaenyra's, the very sharp features, large eyes, very like straight nose. But yeah, she says, "You will die in this place," with this look at him dead in the eye that felt very like, oh, I won't say that she was exactly aggressive, but it felt very much like, I fucking told you a little bit. Like there's something almost as if they're carrying on a conversation they've been having, I don't know. But yeah, then she just turns and hurries away from him, and leaves him there by the weirwood, and he looks rather shook.
Do we know? All right, let me think for a second. So I know that I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of like the history of Harrenhal and if it maybe be like one of the women there, but I think it's somebody that's maybe supposed to be more connected to Daemon and not necessarily connected to Harrenhal. So did Viserys and Daemon are brothers? Did they have sisters?
Rashawn, I'm just going to tell you.
Okay.
You won't figure this out.
All right. Never mind.
Give up. Give up.
Are you saying that because we don't know who it is, or you?
No, like I know who it is.
You know who it is, but it's somebody that it would be very difficult for me to know who it is.
Yeah. And also, I don't want to spend the next 40 minutes going through the family tree while you vaguely theorize, because
the only person
that's just going to be the entire show.
I know that. Let me think. No, I don't want to.
I just said. I don't want to.
I'll let it go. I'll let it go.
We are at 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I know that there's somebody that married into this part of the family, into the Targaryens, that had long black hair because she was a Baratheon. But I don't know who that was. I can't remember who she married. And that's all I know. That's it.
Okay. Duly noted.
So if it turns,
taking the time for coming by.
So on a slim chance that I'm in the ball field, I would just like it noted.
You said the ball field. Yeah, it's a ballpark. It's a ballpark.
Yeah, I'm in the ballpark.
She said the ball field.
Listen,
I have never ever been able to get that.
So fucking tired, and my brain is so spent that I can't believe I just remembered to involve balls. Oh, that sounds terrible. I made it worse. I made it so much worse. Oh, you guys, if you only knew.
Oh man. Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm sure Steven appreciates you.
You gotta involve the balls, y'all. That's the secret to a happy marriage. Involve the balls. All
right, so let's see. What's the next scene?
We're heading
this is Mysteria, and then going in to talk to Allison, which we have pretty much talked about.
Yeah, we covered that at the beginning.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a chit chat about how Daemon moved through the city and and Rhaenyra's like, I know about how he got in, and then it cuts to her on the boat, and then next thing you know, she's in King's Landing, all dressed up. We don't get to see any of that. Yeah,
she's dressed as like a nun, I think.
Yeah, like a what do you call them? Septas?
Yeah, I think so. It's unclear for me how that hierarchy works. I don't know.
And she's got like a sort of a protector with her, it seems, but then he peels off, and there's a close up of a knife in his sleeve, y'all, and I thought it was his, so that when she pulls her knife out later, I was like, oh shit.
So yeah, the I do like appreciate that Allison has a very quick reaction to Rhaenyra being here. I was sort of thinking like it was just going to be her being like, "Oh my god," but she's like straight up ready to start a fight. I was like, "Oh, good for you."
I loved it. She says, "I've begun badly," and that is going to be like I'm just going to start saying that at the beginning of everything I do now. Just like I've begun badly, because often I do. And it's just such a great expression.
Allison even sort of laughs when she says that. Like, you think?
Right? I'll tell you what, there was a moment, and it doesn't make sense because, like, everybody is praying silently, but because we had a moment of Allison going to light candles and saying people's names and then including Lucerys's name, I thought for a second we might get a repeat of that, and that we would have Rhaenyra actually seeing and hearing Allison continue to pray for her lost son.
I thought that might, I thought the same thing.
Yeah, but they end up, not doing it. But I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
I did think it was funny because, like, Rhaenyra at first is just sort of next to Allison lighting a candle, and there's a distinct sense of Allison being like, Can you move over?
All of this fucking space, and you are right next to me.
It's like somebody coming next to you in a movie theater that's like empty, and you're just like, there are other seats. For what reason do you feel the need?
Yeah, it was 100%, 100%. Like, can I not get a moment's peace? Especially because there's another sister that comes in that does like go to the other end and light a candle and then go about their business, right? Everybody else is like passing through and not bothering Allison, and then all of a sudden there's somebody all up in her personal space, and she's just like, "What the?" Yeah. I know we talked about it at the beginning, so there's no need to really go into it. Even though I understand your frustrations with the way the story is handling this particular plot point, I really, and the fact that it does bring into question, like, well, what was the point of the misunderstanding? But this scene between the two of them, plot points or holes notwithstanding, is so good. They are both. It really is. They're both so wonderful in this scene. Their faces, the pain on Rhaenyra's face when she has to think for, even though it's a brief moment, but that he really did change his mind. That pain on her face, because she has never ever let herself believe that was true for a second.
Yeah.
And then to have the recognition and then see the click and then the relief on her face. Right? So good. And then Allison, doing the opposite, but like, having the opposite reactions in these moments, like it's so it's so good. These two performers in this scene, just phenomenal work. I thought it was so good. And I will say just again that even though it does make the whole idea of why have Allison even misunderstand in the first place, kind of puts that into question, makes that a little bit questionable. But even if it was a cheap narrative trick just to have this scene here, it was so good, y'all. I'm almost like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll allow it. Because having the two of them realize in the same moment that a
It's all gone
fundamental.
so far over
It's
this.
gone so far away, like so they're way past the point of return, and there's nothing that can be done to change what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
That the fucking, the bull is out of the barn or whatever. I don't know why I keep trying to do these expressions. I'm having such a hard time with them. Fucking, I just
trying to close the barn door after the cows have got out. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, that's probably the one I wanted. My colloquialisms are just, they're not working for me today. They're all fucking backwards and mangled. But
try and use another colloquialism to explain your failed colloquialisms.
Jesus Christ, it's a never ending circle of life. But
you got that one right. That was good. There you go.
God. But
don't condescend to me.
But yeah, just the powerlessness of these two women in this moment to change anything. Like we talked earlier about Rhaenyra pleading with Alicent to make it right, to do something. But what is she going to do? What is there to do, realistically speaking? And then Alicent's, there was no mistake. Because what else is there for her to do? Like now she has to double down. She has to cling to it because it was the only thread she was clinging to anyway. Yeah. And then to find out that it was bullshit. So now she's just going to cling to it out of delusion and spite. And Rhaenyra calls it pride, but I don't think it's pride at all. I don't think
it's delusion or spite either.
It's for lack of anything else to hang on to, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it's not. I don't even think it's like to hang on to. I don't think she's hanging on to it. I think she's just like, it's at this point, this has taken on a life of its own. So I can't hang on to it because it's not mine anymore.
Well, when she keeps saying there was no mistake, it's like she's not even acknowledging that happened. Like it didn't happen. What you're saying, like her insistence that there was no mistake feels to me like her hanging on to something. But maybe
I don't feel like she's saying that in a real, like, I am saying that there wasn't a mistake. I think she's saying like, I can't let anybody hear you say this because at this point, it's irrelevant. Too much has happened.
Okay.
And it doesn't even matter. So there was no mistake because how can I even go with that narrative at this point? I think she knows very well, like, that there was a mistake, but she's just saying, like, for all intents and purposes, that's not the point anymore.
So it doesn't matter.
We're way past that. Yeah. But that's just my interpretation.
I mean, it's a good one. I mean, it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's just really like,
because she says like there was no mistake, and then she follows it up with Kristen Cole is marching, they're mustering armies, you know what my son is. You don't say all of that if you don't know perfectly well.
That's true. And there's a look on her face, on Allison's face, when Rhaenyra is telling her, that it was a story. Mm-hmm. And there's a moment, Allison's face, it's like it registers.
Yeah.
In a very real way.
She looks horrified.
Yeah.
Like, she really does.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I like it. I think I like your idea that it is the repetitive, there's no mistake, is because it's too late to admit there was a mistake.
Exactly.
So it's done. It's done. The mistake never happened. Everything, Oh, wow. That's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. So we'll have to see. What do you think is coming next week?
I think.
Do you watch that preview that they put for the next episode?
No, I skipped the previews.
Okay, I do too every time, obviously.
I thought, do you watch the after credit, John?
I don't, because they never say anything worth hearing.
So it turns
it's always
out
just like, well, he was really upset in this scene, and I thought he did a good job of making it seem like the actor seemed very upset, like the character was.
According to comments, they confirmed that it was Eric that died. I mean, I'm sorry, that it was Eric that won the fight against the brothers.
Oh, yes. That's confirmed by viewers, too, who were keeping track of who had what wound.
Right. No, but what I mean is when I felt bad because I was like, well, because we had a whole conversation about which twin actually died and who we think it is and what could it be. And then it turns out that immediately at the end of the episode, the producers was like, no, it was definitely Eric. And I just felt like
I think our conversation was still very valuable. There was no mistake. There was no mistake. So there you have it.
My takeaway from this is I've begun badly, and your takeaway is there was no mistake. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a very good. That pretty much sums us up.
Yeah, I think so. I feel like I've made my point very clear, and I don't need to continue this conversation. I am just going to rush away in a rustling of skirts with tears in my eyes. I will take my dinner in my room. Thank you.
So to answer your question about what I think comes next, I think that everything catches on fire next. We're going into battle. What I'm curious about is what's going to be the first flame thrown. Who's going to do it? Dragons are coming, I think, in the next episode. I just don't know who's going to be the instigator. Who's going to loose the dragons first, and what's going to be the call for it. So we know Cole is marching to Harrenhal, right? We know that Damon's already there. Does Damon stay there long enough for Cole to reach him? Does Damon then get that ass? Because Damon's got a dragon at Harrenhal, and Cole don't know that.
True.
So does Cole show up at Harrenhal with Damon and his dragon, and then Damon does some Damon shit? And then that's what opens the floodgates, or does something else happen? But I think we're about to go. We're about to go. Yeah.
Who's the first death, do you think? It wouldn't be the first death, but you know what I'm saying.
Of our group?
Of our mains, yeah.
God. Well, if we're talking Dragon Riders...
I mean, not necessarily, but probably. It's much more likely, right?
Right. I think it's going to be one of the kids. So I think maybe somebody on Rhaenyra's side. So either I hate to even say it, but maybe Baela. Maybe Jacaerys. I don't think Daemon. I don't think Rhaenys. I don't think Aemon. I don't think Aegon's going to be on a dragon just yet. Those are good questions because fucking Helena's got a dragon too, and she rides. But does she go to war? I don't know. I guess they're going to need every dragon's going to have to be involved. So I guess eventually she will get in the mix. I don't know, guys. I don't know who's going to die first. I don't want to guess because it needs to be Kristen Cole. That's who it needs to be. But I don't think he's out of the story yet. Ugh.
All right. Well, let's wrap this sucker up because we've been sitting here for 5 hours.
4
hours?
4 hours.
Yeah, you're right. 4 hours. I really thought it was longer than that. But I'm starting to get lightheaded because I haven't eaten in so long. So we have got to bring this to a close. Guys, I really appreciate all of you listening, all of you participating in the discourse. TM, keep it up. Keep telling us stuff. Although I do recommend, after 6 or 7 instances, that you wait until you've finished the episode before you leave a comment telling us something, because we may have gotten there already. This has happened a few times in the Facebook group and in the Discord.
Yep. just don't pause the comment. But by the we're at the end of the episode, the people who do that have already done it.
They've done it already, yeah.
You should put something at the beginning of the episode. A little, hey guys.
In this episode, we were unsure about this, and this. We eventually figured it out, so relax. But yeah, I do appreciate hearing people's theories and stuff, and knowing the different ways that people interpret the same scene. I always think is kind of fascinating. So yeah, keep doing it. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/unspoiled. And I am going to be opening up the $1 tier again, so that you can pledge easily to that. I'm not going to be adding any like new content for $1, but I am going to start uploading some of the old shows that have been finished for a while, ad-free for $1, because I retroactively added advertisements to pretty much everything on the public feed. So, yeah, if there's some old stuff that you're interested in listening to, I'm not sure what the first show is I'm going to do that with. Thinking about Justified for some reason has been on my mind, so that might be one of the first ones. But if you are, somebody who just really doesn't like having to sit through ads, this may speak to you. I really hate ads. I always try and subscribe so I can skip them because they just bug me. So, yeah. Patreon.com/unspoiled. And Miles and I are going to be starting the final Sookie book, and I'm really excited because it's a weird one. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there are the Unsobers, which are twice a month. One of them is with me and Rashawn, and one of them is with a co-host that's guesting, usually with a subject of their choice. If they can't think of anything, then I'll come up with it, but usually they come up with it. And those are just like really fun discussions about random topics that we pick. The last one with Rashawn and I was just freestyle because we couldn't come up with a topic. But
we should do an AMA. Have we ever done an AMA? I feel like we
haven't.
Did we do one long time ago in Unsober?
Maybe.
We should do one again.
I don't remember anything anymore.
If we can't think of a topic, we should just tell people, but they got to come to it to ask.
That's us. The thing is, like, if you're going to ask a question, but it's a protected tier answer, a lot of people won't hear the answer.
No,
they pledge.
No, this would just be for people who, are
high rollers.
Yeah, high rollers. Join us live and ask us anything, kind of deal.
Yeah, maybe we can do that next time.
Make sure we remember to tell people way ahead of time so they know to show up.
Yeah, right. True enough. All right, everybody. Thank you all again so much. We love you and appreciate you. And until next time, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye, guys.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.